terms of campaigns, which was stopped by IBC. So this is also another grey area. But Alan Ochanda is here to give us a perspective. Good morning, Alan.
Well, good morning to Dibal. Yes, indeed, in Kakamega. Well, remember that the polls are done and dusted, but we are at a situation where Kakamega and Mombasa counties are yet to actually just conduct their polls, especially for the position of governor. And here in Kakamega, remember that the seat has attracted 5 gubernatorial, contestants. Remember that Azimio is represented by Fernandez Baraza. We have Cleophas Malala, the outgoing senator, representing the Kenya Kwanza coalition. We have independent candidate Mike Osundwa here. We also have the KANU party being represented by Mr. Suleiman Sumba, and also veteran politician Cyrus Jirongo representing his own party of UDP. So we are expecting quite a stiff competition. But remember that since the postponement of these particular contests, we've seen the top contenders. This is actually Fernandez Baraza of Azimio and Cleophas Malala of Kenya Kwanza, really faulting the IEBC. They are actually calling out the electoral body, really saying that the initial mistake of mishap in terms of printing on the ballot papers was actually deliberate. On the part of Fernandez of ODM and Azimio, for that matter, is actually saying that that was aimed at suppressing the voter turnout and ensure that their leader Raila Odinga do not make it at the ballot. Because remember, on that material day, besides failing the mishap in the, of course, in the ballot papers of the gubernatorial candidates, we also saw the failing of the KEMS kits, and in some instances, some polling stations began the exercise at around 1 p.m. For instance, in Dangalasia, where the Roots Party presidential candidate George Wajakwe was actually partaking the voting exercise, the exercise began at exactly 1 p.m. And so they really read a lot of mischief in that, of course, according to them. And on the part of Cleophas Malala, he really faulted the IEBC, really saying that they are out to ensure that the president-elect William Ruto's supporters do not really turn up, because of course some supporters may just turn up courtesy of the gubernatorial candidate. And so to that effect, if their candidate is not being voted for on that particular or on that material day, then some of the voters will not turn up. And so we now go back to the ballot on 23rd to give a chance, of course, the electoral body giving a chance to the electorate, or rather the residents of Kakamega County, to make a decision on who to be their second governor, on who to inherit from their inaugural governor, Wycliffe Oparanya. And so that decision lies with the electorate on Tuesday next week. And so, Dibal, on this part of the country, we are not done with the elections in as much as the other seats were actually done and dusted. Dibal.
Indeed, it appears it's not yet done and dusted. Alan Ochanda there, but well, I'm just inclined to wonder then, if the IBC had declared, the campaigning period is over and we have a by-election, then what happens in between now that particular declaration and this by-election? No one is even supposed to prop up a placard and to show support for his candidate. What is happening on the ground? Maybe you can just give us a feel and flavor of how quiet it is or how loud it is.
Well, Dibal, it's sort of a confusion, but remember, it's more of not really a by-election. It was actually postponed. But remember that the campaigns were actually, we've even seen the billboards were pulled down. We have not experienced any rallies by the respective candidates, but we saw them mischievously, of course, on the day the president-elect William Ruto was announced as the winner of that contest. We saw the governor candidate Cleophas Malala really coming out, sort of celebrations, but of course, cleverly sneaking in sort of statements to just woo the electorate. Of course, they have really been tying their candidature to that of their respective political leaders. And so Cleophas Malala really came out on that particular day, sort of celebration, but mixed it up with sort of campaigns, clever campaigns. And of course, yesterday we saw the candidate for Azimio, that is Fernandez Baraza, really, he addressed the press, but not a rally, but addressed the press. And in that process, really also cleverly sneaking in messages of wooing and reminding the electorate that, yes, they are done with the other elective seats from the ward rep to the president, except for the governor position. So they really reminding the electorate, the residents of Kakamega County, that the position that really matters to them in as far as devolution is concerned is actually the position of governor. And so Dibal, yes, they do not have a fully fledged campaign activities here in Kakamega, but they're actually reaching out through other initiatives. But we can confirm that the billboards have, most of them have actually been pulled down, and so they are just ensuring that maybe they just reach their supporters in different ways, but not political rallies. And so it's quite silent here, quite cool here in Kakamega. No much political activities. They're just waiting for next week, maybe just the door-to-door where they cannot really even interfere with other persons' activities and day-to-day activities here in Kakamega. Debal.
Many thanks indeed, Alan Ochanda. Curious to note also if the same template is playing out in Mombasa. We can see the political sleight of hand happening right now in Kakamega, knowing how to navigate that particular choppy water, whether of course to campaign or not, given that we had that declaration by IBC that has been stopped. Let's see what